rise of China and maybe the slowdown in the United States of efforts towards being, having the biotech pole position, I guess, to use a racing metaphor, um, in the United States. And GeoVax had a press release where you were talking about some of the things that we could do broadly and also that would be specific to the vaccine space that could really help bring us back to that leading position around the globe for biotech and vaccines. And I thought I'd start out with giving you a chance to highlight some of those. I think you had 6 items that you had listed, plus maybe a few more specific things for vaccines. So I'm going to pass it off onto you to race away with what your recommendations are.
It's a really relevant question that I've been asked at numerous meetings recently, and definitely China has had for several years now a strategy built around leadership globally in numerous industries, with one of those key ones being in biotechnology. In fact, a reflection or a demonstration of their aggressiveness is that if you look at it today, the U.S. represents about 35% of global clinical trials that are underway. China is at approximately 30%. That's a very small difference. And it's what they've been focused on increasingly doing is conducting clinical trials as well as manufacturing, as well as APIs, utilizing AI to try and move for development, both in drug development as well as vaccine development ahead faster and faster. They clearly have a national investment strategy behind that industry, something that many of us, such as myself and others within the industry, would like to see a more aggressive, more laid out and reflected strategy being expressed by the United States government, administration, et cetera, that would be built upon creating a leadership position very strongly in manufacturing of biomanufacturing, as well as basic R&D, so in moving into development. Obviously, clinical trials. There are a number of areas that we believe are opportunities for the U.S. to garner greater leadership than they currently have and sort of regain the momentum. I hate to say it, but I don't think we have the momentum behind us as China seems to have right now. And we think, though, that there's an opportunity to do that in a number of areas. And this is bipartisan. And we see this expressed across the aisle, which is leadership in biomanufacturing, leadership towards a vaccine. If we look specifically in our industry of vaccines, and diversity of platforms and not being reliant on a single sort of mono platform, but really looking at different platforms, because frankly, in certain situations, certain platforms probably would work better than others. We've seen this in vaccines, for instance, in COVID-19, where the platforms that can handle multi-antigen and deal with the continuous evolving of variants becomes critically important, rather than focus on a single sort of a mono platform such as mRNA. So there are a number of areas that we think are critically important, and we'd like to see more action, as there's a lot of good words being expressed across the aisle by leaders that you normally would think would not necessarily be that cooperative with one another, but both Republicans and Democrats working in concert towards leadership in biomanufacturing, biodevelopment, and those areas is critically important.
And I think you guys had a chance to meet with some legislators. Is that right?
Yes, we have. We've met with them. We participate very consistently and very seriously in BIO's Vaccine Policy Steering Committee,
Okay.
also the Biodefense Policy Steering Committee, the Pandemic Preparedness Committee. So we take an active role as a company, myself and others, on that, including the BIOS Regulatory Authority, looking for opportunities to better harmonize for regulatory development and stuff. So we're very active in that, and that activity includes at least twice a year, in the fall and in the spring, where we participate and join with other members of the industry to meet with legislators on both sides of the aisle. We also look to meet with staff in HHS, at BARDA, et cetera. So we do all of those, we take it very seriously. We also do that on our own as a standalone company, which most of the members of BIO's Vaccine Policy Steering Committee and other leadership committees will have their own separate initiatives, but we all do that, and we're quite active in that. We also work very strongly, as we did recently when we were in Europe for a period of 4 weeks, meeting with the likes of the EMA, the European Medicines Agency, the European equivalent of FDA. We had multiple meetings with the WHO, with the International Vaccine Institute, meeting with the Director General as well as other staff members, with Gavi, known as the Vaccine Alliance, which works very closely with UNICEF. So we had numerous meetings at Africa CDC. We met with CEPI. We meet with all of these on a continuous basis on multiple times throughout the year.